Okay.
Welcome to Boulder Rotary. Best place to be on a Friday afternoon, and we're trying to expand our horizons. I notice we've been doing this each week. So I'm going to say best place to be on a Friday afternoon in the universe. Let's see Mike Brady top that. Mike is celebrating a wedding, not his own, somebody brought that up, back in Toledo, Ohio. He's excited about the wedding, and he's not excited about being in Toledo. I'm sure he'd rather be here for that. Anyway, well, let's get the ball rolling here. So Jean Lindicke is going to handle our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we're going to also do the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
Be beneficial for all concerned.
Okay, now will all visiting Rotarians and guests remain standing? We'll start back here.
I want to welcome Bud Wilson to our club lunch. Bud was involved with the original PPE committee that was set up at the Aspen Rotary Club in the early 1990s, and he talked about that history at our PPE committee. So please give a warm welcome to Bud Wilson.
Hello, if you could welcome Donna Mercier, who's here visiting from Twin Peaks, and she's working with us on the new database for Rotary. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. I'd like to introduce Pete Parkinson. Pete is visiting for the second time, and Pete is the National Director for Permitting for a large-scale solar company, Ecoplexus. Welcome, Pete.
So I have three guests today. The first is a former member of our club, Rich Goodallen, who is here to say hi and also to hear the speaker today. So please welcome Rich. Then I have two very special guests. I have Riley Lackey right here, who attended Young Ryla this year, and she's going to say a few words to you in a minute. And her mother, Christine Lackey, who is also here checking us out. So here is Riley.
Hi. So this summer I went to Young Ryla, and the biggest takeaways that I got from it was I made so many new friends, and it was one of the greatest opportunities I've ever had. I learned that being a good leader just doesn't mean talking all the time, but like having other people listen and listening to their ideas too.
Good afternoon. This is Uta Wilkins. This is her second time at the Boulder Rotary Club. She's a visiting CU professor at the Atlas Institute. Her daughter Alice is at the Boulder High School, and she's visiting, but if she wasn't, she would be actually here joining our membership, trying to do that. But we love her. She's here. She's actually going to our gala also. Thank you.
You're so good.
I'm here to introduce Will Norris, who is from Attention Homes, and I met him at the United Way Day of Caring last week. He's the volunteer coordinator for Attention Homes. So if you want to know more about Attention Homes or want to talk about maybe any volunteer services needed, Will would be the one to come and speak with.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce the other half of the Burton family, Jennifer Burton, mother of my 3 kids and love of my life. And she works at Avista right now. She does teaching for the physicians and over there with Epic, the computer systems. And her father was the president of this club in 1982 to 83, Jan Sorensen.
Being a part of Rotary is one of the highlights of my entire life, and I have delighted in it. And a second delight is to bring along a longtime friend, Cindy Domenico, and recommend her for membership. And today she's submitted all the paperwork. Thank you.
Laura, if you would look at the camera so they can get you on screen up there. I am here with Laura Sambara from Croatia, from a town I cannot pronounce, but it's near Zagreb. And she's loving being a sophomore at Fairview High School. She is actually staying with the host family, John and Jody Jonas. John was on a sailing trip and is having trouble getting back. And since I'm a next door neighbor, I have volunteered to be the transportation. I'm delighted to spend some time with Laura today. Welcome, Laura.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Everything is really great here, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're very happy that Heitor's here with us. It took a little extra to get him here. He's from Brazil, and he just told me on the way here his aunt was the district governor for his district in 2012, 2013.
Hi, my name is Heitor. I'm very happy for here. I apologize for my English because I don't speak English and I'm here three weekend. Yeah, and thank you.
Thank you, Gene. It's my pleasure to introduce to the club Bernie Strom. Bernie was a Rotarian in Los Angeles and one of the first 5 women in her club back when she was in Rotary. She's since lived mostly in Seattle, where she has started several companies in the tech and media industry and sits on boards of several major corporations. And she's here. Take a look at Rotary.
Well, welcome to everybody, and please come again. Now I have a new job. That's part of this job. And I was supposed to look in and find an old directory and review and tell you how things have changed or stayed the same. So, guess what? It's from 2005, 2006. Or is it 2006, 2007? I know we used to just put in different pages. So in 2006 or 7, we had 288 members. Wow. And as I was leafing through the membership, I thought we were missing a lot of great folks. This is something that stayed pretty much the same. We had 62 committees. And lots of those committees are still going strong. And some of them have the same chair. Okay, Danny Lindau still has 4-way test. George Russell, birthdays. I know Bob Taylor isn't head of meeting management, but he's there all the time anyway. Joanne Joslin still does share a gift. And I think TK still does ambassadorial scholars. Is that right? I don't know if he's here today. And I'm on literacy, still doing literacy, still co-chairing literacy. The other thing that I was supposed to do is look up the four-way test and give you something about the four-way test. And I think many of you already know the genesis of the four-way test, but for those of you that are new and you're wondering where it came from, there was a fellow from Chicago, a Rotarian in Chicago in the 1930s by the name of Herbert Taylor. And he believed himself the only person in his company, Club Aluminum Products Distribution Company, could save the company from bankruptcy. So his recovery plan started with changing the ethical climate of the company by setting policies that would reflect high ethics and morals. He claimed those 24 words came to him as he bowed his head in prayer. So good for him. In the 1940s, he became the international director of Rotary, and he offered his four-way test to the organization. And it was adopted, and today, as you know, remains a central part of the permanent Rotary structure throughout the world. Now, you probably are wondering, did it save Club Aluminum Products? Well, yes, I guess it did. It actually, those are pots and pans for some of you people that don't know about Club Aluminum. It had its heyday in the 30s and all the way to the 60s, and it eventually became a part of Miro Aluminum Company in Wisconsin.
The next person. Thanks very much, Gene. One of the things that we're doing this year to celebrate our 100th anniversary is we're having a weekly vignette about some time in Boulder Rotary history. And today I call on Lena Kotke.
It wasn't until around 1987 that women were actually able to become Rotarians. Before that, the all-male clubs referred to their spouses as Rotary Anns. Get it? John B. Schoolin, writing in 1969, gushed, "Our Rotary Anns," there are only two real Rotary Anns in the club. We assume he meant spouses named Ann. "Our Rotary Anns are superlative. There are the usual annual ladies' luncheons and ladies' nights, of course. One that all who were present will remember is the Super Ladies' Luncheon in 1959-60. The ladies themselves planned the entire affair, secretly taking complete charge, even to a menu acceptable to the men. All the men had to do was to almost literally gasp and beam their pleasure and pride. Not to be outdone, the men later chartered a special train to take their ladies to dinner at the Student Union at Colorado State University in Fort Collins. Wow. The following year, the men arranged for another special train, destination unknown, that took the group over the old Moffett route and culminated in a fine steak dinner at Winter Park. Subsequently, ladies' nights were arranged for Cheyenne, Colorado Springs, and the old Stanley Hotel in Estes Park. A few years later, Boulder Rotary members arrived for their all-male weekly meeting at the Harvest House to discover that their wives had taken over. Presiding was Sally Streamer. Other officers and functionaries had been replaced by their wives. The invocation was given by Virginia Patterson, later a member in her own right. Her husband, Father Pat, was notoriously late in arriving for Rotary, and Virginia added a plea in her prayer that he might be assisted in the future in getting there on time. Rotary was still an all-male club when John joined in 1986. And at his induction, I was introduced as his Rotary Ann, and I was given a plant as a symbol of my role to take care of my Boulder Rotarian spouse. But I'm happy to tell you we still have that plant, but more than 30 years later, it's still going. But when I became president of Boulder Rotary in 2012, I told John it was his turn to water it.
I will never forget Pete Steinhauer when he talked about Rotary Anns and Rotary Dicks. Okay, we have a board of directors for Busy Sox.
Update on the last board of directors meetings. So I have a quick update for everyone today. The last meeting was Monday, October 20, or October. I have October on the mind. Monday, August 27th. And again, in order to be apparent or transparent with our membership, we want to share these updates with you today. So we talked about membership. We welcomed two new members, had 3 resigning members. 1 active exempt member was approved. 1 leave of absence was approved due to illness, and 1 honorary member was approved. Revised club bylaws. This is a big one. Thanks to a dedicated team effort from our previous year's board and current board, the Boulder Rotary Club bylaws have been reviewed in great detail and updated to reflect changes that bring us current with Rotary International standards, along with updates that support improved club-specific operating procedures. The new bylaws are nearly complete after a lot of work to also include reference to a new Boulder Rotary Club sexual harassment policy. Upon final approval of the bylaws by the board, the updates will be brought before our membership for comment and for voting. So watch for those to come. It's a top priority. The Mindfulness Garden agreement was approved by the board. This is a signature project as part of our centennial year celebration, and President Mike is now working with the Boulder Rotary Foundation to gain necessary approvals. Club write-offs. The board approved select write-offs from previous members in an effort to clean up our accounting records. Debts and collections will continue to be closely monitored and addressed moving forward. And sponsorship of Boulder Rotary Club of the District 5450 WASH Symposium was proposed, and it was decided that funds for the sponsorship of that be requested from within a committee budget. That's it.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, it's time to have our raffle drawing, and knowing this membership as I do, well, that's what I have next on the list.
Okay, then am I after that?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't go away. Knowing this membership as I do, we might want to turn the lights back on so you can read the numbers. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm just going to read the number. 8273962. Okay. Okay, Grant Hickman, congratulations. You are $81 richer. Thank you very much. And now, for a report on Club 1919, here is, shall we say, the lesser half of the Kotke family. Is that what we're saying now?
That's what we're saying.
John Kotke.
Thank you, Jack. First of all, I have to say, you know, because I am a believer in the 4-way test, and to tell the truth, Lena did tell me that I needed to water the plant, but the only reason that that plant is still alive today is because she's watering it. So, anyway, so it's my privilege as the co-chair of the Centennial Committee to give you kind of an update in terms of our fundraising, which the committee couldn't be more pleased with. Rotarians are amazing people, as you know, because you are Rotarians. We, a month or so ago, started inviting Rotarians to, in celebration of our Centennial legacy projects, to raise the $100,000 that we needed to fund those Centennial legacy projects. We invited Rotarians to consider contributing at the level of $19.19. In other words, $1,919, which is a significant amount of money. At the time, it was our hope that we might be able to get 30 founding Centennial Club members. We are now in excess of 40 as I speak today. So that is just amazing. If you recall, when I spoke with you about a month ago, one of the key objectives of our Centennial Celebration Committee is 100% participation by all of us everybody in this club. And there are all sorts of different ways that we can all participate. And I should mention that those that are now present members of Club 1919 are actually printed on the back of your agenda today. So they have opted for a way to become a part of this celebration. But we are now going to be opening it as, you know, this is kind of the second phase of our very slow motion paddle raiser that I mentioned, where our first kind of opening bid was at $1,919. Well, today we are now inviting any Rotarian who would like to participate at the level of $191.90. To keep with our theme of 1919. There are pledge forms that are on the table. And if you submit that pledge form, as soon as Michael Weatherwax, the treasurer of our foundation, receives that, you become an official member of Club 1919, and you can have one of these pins as well. It's our hope before we're all done here that we will have 100% participation of everyone in our club at some level. And our objective for the second level at the $191.90 is we're hoping to have at least 100 of our Rotarians be able to do that. So we are well on our way. The other thing I would just like to underscore is that it looks at this point as though we're clearly going to be exceeding the 100,000 we need for our centennial projects. But the real celebration that we want to do here is to, and actually we have already set up a centennial fund in our foundation. This is a partnership between our club and our own local foundation. All of the funds go into that centennial fund. So any funds that are in excess of the 100,000 that we need for our projects this year are going to be there for good works and service projects to our community and world as we begin our second century of service. So it's really exciting. Thanks to all of you. Oh, I got to mention this. Jack was we had a gathering of the Centennial members at the Academy last Sunday night, and our presiding president, Jack, was there. And as many of you know, but maybe not everybody, Jack is an amazing pianist, and he played some two absolute beautiful pieces that were around the 1919 era. So, you know, Rotarians are not only generous with their money, but you got a lot of talent. So thank you, Jack.
There's an old saying that past district governors, past club presidents, and the like are like old shoes. The only thing that doesn't wear out is the tongue. We're now 5 minutes behind according to this schedule that I was given. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to call on Gary Kahn, who's going to come up right now and introduce our speaker. Thanks very much, Jim. That's very enlightening. Okay, we need to get Lena Kotke and Gary Kahn up here. Transition red badge to blue badge. And we need to move quickly. We are well out of time.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's my pleasure to say thanks to Lena for introducing Ruth Irvin to our club. And time has passed, and Ruth is now here to make her transition. Just as a refresher, prior to her retiring from practicing law in 2016, Ruth spent most of her legal career representing disabled adults and children in Social Security disability and SSI claims. Before becoming a lawyer, she was a reference librarian in a special library that served multiple school districts in Southeast Denver. Ruth was drawn to Rotary for several reasons. First, the positive impact Rotarians make, not only in the immediate area, but in so many far-reaching areas of the world, was very appealing to her. Second, it seemed to her that Rotarians are a community of interesting and diverse people whom she would be privileged to learn new things from. As the song goes, we can all use a little help from our friends, whoever and wherever we are. Since joining on, Ruth has become a member of the Caring Committee and has participated in this year's Day of Caring. She's also involved with the Literacy Committee on its Homebound program through the Boulder Library materials that are going to homebound folks on a weekly basis. And she plans to join the Literacy Committee on its Reading Partners program as well. Lastly, thanks, Ruth, and to you and your fellow Rotarian husband, Rich, for being founding members of the Club 1919, and we welcome you. Thanks again, Lena. All right, next I have the pleasure of saying thanks to Gary Kahn for bringing Phyllis Wise to our club. And prior to joining our club, and really through most of her life has been in higher education. Until recently, she served as Chief Executive Officer at major public research universities, including University of Washington and the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. She's been a passionate advocate for public research universities and the role they play in meeting society's greatest challenges. As a researcher, Phyllis has focused on women's health, and in 2017, when she moved to Boulder, it was to head up the Colorado Longitudinal Study, an ambitious project to create the largest repository of biological specimens and corresponding data on the social detriments of health. Since joining Rotary, Phyllis is getting up to speed and exploring where she can contribute. She's met with Darla Sheath to get engaged with the Homebound program, which we just heard about, and she's been attending some Red Badge breakfasts, which I can attest to, and is learning more about Rotation Day for assistance in the upcoming year. So thanks, Phyllis, and Gary, thanks for bringing her along. We have to have
Will Nancy Chin-Wagner come up to the stage, please? She left. Oh, okay, all right. We are at the point of talking about the Roaring Rotary Gala 1919, and Anne Marie's going to speak quickly.
So just a quick announcement. We've been doing a great job selling tickets. We have 6 tickets left at the $129 level. If you'd like to buy tickets, just see me after the meeting. And then the price goes up to $139. And it's going to be a great gala on November 3rd, and we hope everyone can attend. Thanks.
Okay, let's roll the video. Well, there you have it. And this is a biggie. We need to support this. So grab those tickets while they're available at a good price. All right, we're going to turn to the Browns now for announcements.
Rotarians on film.
Next week, on September 21st, we'll end the meeting a few minutes early and head outside for a group photo. This will be our 100th year photo, so it will be especially meaningful.
Welcome, Rotarians and guests.
Welcome to the September 14th Rotary meeting.
It's a lot of welcoming. To mark the passing of our club into the second century, we're asking you to consider a donation in the amount of $19.19. Our goal for this fundraising campaign is 100% participation from club members. Not all will be able to give at that level, but other donations are going to be solicited at lower levels in the coming months.
Thank you to the director of Boulder Rose Academy, Gary Berg, who donated space for the 39 founders of Club 1919 and their significant others. Many thanks to Gary and the great staff at the Academy.
And thank you to the founding members of Club 1919.
What a great time.
And a fake news retraction. The next meeting of the Boulder Rotary Club Book Club will be at Jancy Campbell's house on Monday, October 8th, indeed. But it's going to be from 5 to 9 p.m. and not 2 a.m. as previously reported.
Oh.
And now, Alessandro Sachs with a World Community Service update.
Dear Boulder Rotary fellow Rotarian, I would like to bring to your knowledge the latest global grant that successfully we pledged for very recently. It is a project in India called Morivadi Ketevadi. It's a watershed management and rural development project. The champion club comes from Switzerland, from Rotary Club Allschwil. It is about a hands-on work project with a local population to create ditches and basins so that when the heavy rain season comes, they don't lose the fertile land. The contribution by the local population is over 20%. In this global grant, we want to fight 4 things. Number 1, poverty. Number 2, climate change. Number 3, migration. And number 4, food security, all in one project. From past experience, there is the possibility of obtaining 2 harvest seasons in one season with this kind of watershed management. I would like to thank everybody for the support. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All new volunteers for the Literacy Reading Partners program are required to attend a training session at the Boulder Valley School District offices. The training will be held on September 21st from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Contact Jean Lindeke.
And CU Rotaract is back, and they're the big club on campus. Join the group of CU Rotaractors in their next meeting on September 18th in the Humanitarian Building, room 135 at 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. These are future Rotarians. Let's get out and support them.
BRC members went to work last Friday participating in Colorado's Day of Caring at several different sites throughout Boulder. Thank you to Michael McHale, Doug Yeiser, and all the Boulder Rotarians who went out and worked.
Yeah.
Next week, you get a meeting, and you get a meeting, and you get a meeting.
Just imagine Rotarians building a world beyond war. What if together we wage peace? On September 21st, join Jim Halderman, our past district governor, because he's going to speak to us about the Rotary Peace Rotary Action Group, the right to peace.
It's so great to be back after 2 weeks off of Rotary.
Everybody say it with us now.
Have a great weekend.
Very good. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you. Excuse me, Sally. Okay, well, we're virtually through here. I want to thank our greeters today, John Kotke and Christina Louie. And member and guest registration was Eve Kilmer, Jean Lindeke, and Kathy Olivier. And don't forget, we're going to end 10 minutes early next week, God willing, to have our 100th anniversary picture taken. So you all want to wear a nice shirt and brush your teeth and floss. Having said that, meeting is adjourned.